All right, welcome back to WMMA Scene Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to another edition of Odds and Ends. This is a segment I like to do every once in a while when, I've got a lot of stuff that has been going on, but I haven't had time to, talk about all of it individually, and some of it I want to go into a bit too deeper for, the WMMA Scene report, which I try to do, every Thursday or every other Thursday. So this is going to be like, that segment where, sorry, I'm trying to center myself here. This is going to be that segment where I'm going to go over a little bit of, each of these topics I want to talk about. Got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. First up, let's see. Holm versus Pena has been booked for UFC Fight Night on May 8th. Let me enlarge this here. Preacher's daughter Holm coming in 14-5. Pena coming in at 10-4. Holm's riding 2 straight wins. Pena's coming off a win over Sarah McMahon like less than a month ago. This is pretty much a #1 contender's bout. I mean, whoever wins this is probably getting the next bout, or excuse me, title fight at bantamweight, which, I approve. I mean, I'm not excited for a potential Holm, second bout with Nunes. I think she could get knocked out again. Might not, though. But I think it'd be nice if Pena wins. Personally, I'd prefer if Pena wins. Just personal preference, just to have someone new there, But my hopes aren't that high for her. I think Holm has the perfect style to beat Pena, because Pena reminds me of like a lesser version of Miesha Tate, and Holm was like what, half a round away from beating Miesha Tate when they fought, and Holm has gotten a lot better than that since then, and I just think this is going to be Holm's fight to win here. I mean, Pena can beat her, but I think she's going to have a hard time. Her striking is not up to par with Holm's. Holm is the better controller of distance. I think she's going to be stronger in the clinch, and her takedown defense is more than adequate against someone like Pena. So at this point as it'll be, I think it's going to be another Holm win, unfortunately, which she manages to stay at top. And, a lot of people get mad that, she just gets all these title fights. Well, she only loses to whoever is the champ. So you can't get mad at her if she's beating everyone put in front of her and keeping everyone else from getting a title shot. Leon, yeah, I'm actually going to talk about that in a second there. I see your comment. Then the UFC also booked Felicia Spencer versus Danielle Wolf, and that's going to go down at UFC Fight Night on May 22nd. Spencer coming in 8-2. Wolf coming in 1-0. Spencer coming off a loss to Amanda Nunes 8 months ago, or 8.5 months ago. Danielle Wolf hasn't fought since her pro MMA debut, beating Tanisha Tennant in a contentious unanimous decision on the Contender Series 5 months ago. Why? I mean, what did they really not want to sign anyone else at featherweight to fight Danielle Wolf? That they're going to put her in against someone with 9 times the experience? I just don't. Nah, I think it's. Nah, this is silly. I think Wolf can bust Spencer up on the feet, but I think it's just a matter of time until Spencer is able to get her down on the ground and then have her way with her. Wolf, apparently, she's pretty good for a white belt, but like the grappling championship she's won were at white belt level, like literally white belt level, whereas Spencer is a black belt on the ground. So I just don't see, the point in this fight. Here's a prediction, though. Nunes beats Anderson. Spencer beats Wolf. But they're not going to give Spencer a rematch at featherweight. So I think this could be the perfect time after this fight happens to close out women's featherweight in the UFC. And then say at home, hey, either fight at bantamweight or go elsewhere. I think this is going to be, the death knell. If Spencer wins, what does that mean for the division? don't think it means anything. I mean, this is a pointless fight. I mean, there's no point in having someone who is 1-0 as a pro. I mean, yeah, okay, she's got 5 inches of height, 2 inches of reach on Spencer. But what's her takedown defense like? We don't know. Tanisha Tennant, I can't remember Tanisha even trying to take her down in their fight. So, trying to take Wolf down. Whereas we know Spencer can do stuff on the ground. And I think that's where this fight's going to end up going. Usually any striker versus grappler battle ends up going down to the ground. And then we see what happens there. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting news headline that I found out about via WMMA subreddit on Reddit. So Fabiola Pedroni, who was supposed to fight Josephine Knudsen on March 6th, is out of that fight. Per Spanish publication Republica, Fabiola Pedroni has been arrested for drug dealing. And per the police, they found 1,000 ecstasy pills and 100 grams of MDMA in her apartment. Holy crap, that's a lot of drugs. I mean, that's a good amount of drugs. That's got to be, I don't know how much 100 grams of MDMA is, but I mean, 1,000 ecstasy pills, that's got to be thousands of dollars, right? And this reminds me of, what was the Italian girl's name that fought in the UFC and just gave up the armbar twice? But there's another Italian female fighter who got in trouble along with her boyfriend for illicit drugs or something, and now she can't even fight at home in Italy. And then she just got cut after her last fight by the UFC, so she's not going back. Anyway, crazy story. That's, like I said, that is a lot of illicit drugs. Haven't tried either of them, so can't compliment on them. But anyway, Pedroni has been replaced by, let me see what this girl's name is, Adriana Fusini, who apparently has a 3-0-1 record, whereas Knudsen is making her pro debut. So anyway, this goes down, was this FCR MMA on March 6th, and this is out of Sweden, and it is going to air on UFC Fight Pass. So hopefully Fusini doesn't get arrested for dealing drugs before then. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know anything about Knudsen. 1 or 2 people have told me she's a decent amateur, so we'll have to see. But just crazy story. I mean, that's a lot of ecstasy. So if you're, going to happen to be in Italy and are looking to party it up, and she's not in jail, go look up Fabiola Pedroni, I guess, for a good time and for the hookup. I mean, I'm not saying to go do that necessarily. I'm saying if you're going to be there and if you like that. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Also in the news, Deep Jewel strawweight champion Miki Motono is injured and is out of her bout at Deep Jewels 32 against Seika Izawa. She was scheduled to defend her title there against Izawa. Izawa beat her at Deep Jewels 31 back in December, and they were rematching this time for the title. So Motono is injured and out, and I have a couple statements here from Motono. She said, due to a knee injury, I will miss the Deep Jewels 32 tournament scheduled for March 7th. I apologize for the inconvenience caused to all the people involved in the event, everyone who supports me and supports our opponent, Izawa. This title match will be postponed. First of all, we will heal the injury as soon as possible and prepare for the match so that you can see how we have grown. I will definitely revenge, so I hope you can wait. And then Seika Izawa also released a statement, and you can find this at deepjewels.com. I recommend using Chrome, though, because it'll translate the Japanese. Anyway, Seika Izawa said, first of all, this game has been canceled, and I am full of regret. However, since it was postponed to May, and I had time to practice, I think it is a positive period to show Izawa who has become stronger. Meanwhile, I am really grateful to Megumi Sugimoto for taking the match according to the grappling rules, but I will do my best. So this bout is off, MMA, and it has been replaced. Seika Izawa will now be taking on Megumi Sugimoto of Abe Ani Combat Club in a grappling rules bout at 54 kilos. Now, if you're not familiar with Megumi Sugimoto, she was the runner-up in last year's Shudo Super Atomweight tournament. Now, that tournament had a lot of changes in it and everything due to COVID, but she was one of the constants, and she made it to the finals where she lost to, I can't remember her name off the top of my head now. Didn't write it down. Former Deep Jewels Atomweight champ. So that was 110 pounds at the time. Sugimoto, like I said, she lost that, and then I think she lost a second MMA bout after that. But looks like she's now going to be fighting under the Deep Jewels banner, or at least grappling for them. So, you know, I like that Deep Jewels found, you know, somewhat of a replacement. Like, obviously, they weren't going to, you know, have Izawa fight someone for a vacant title and take it away from Otono. But I like that they changed it up, put in this grappling rules bout instead. And the title bout has been moved back to Deep Jewels 33, which is tentatively scheduled for sometime in May. Then next up, Bellator booked a bout between Julia Budd and promotional newcomer Diana Silva. The Jewel comes in at 14-3. Silva comes in at 9-5. Both are coming in off of wins. Budd over Jesse Mealy 6 months ago. Silva over Tana Lemonnier and Shooter Brazil 5 months ago. Each of them are also preceded those wins with losses. Let's see. Bud's the older fighter, 37-30. Roughly the same height, 1 inch taller for Bud and like a half inch in reach for Bud. Here's my thing. You know, everyone that loves to defend the women's featherweight division, let's talk about, oh yeah, Bellator has the best and the deepest featherweight division. Okay, let's suppose that is actually true, which it kind of sort of is. I mean, okay, they have the deepest, even though it's not deep at all, because if it actually was deep, they wouldn't have to go to Brazil to find someone with a 9-5 record to face off against the former champ. I mean, they should have somebody on their roster that is more than capable of giving a good fight against the former champ, Julia Budd. And that's, I'm not putting down Diana Silva at all. Hey, I hope she comes in and I hope she puts up a good fight. I don't even like Julia Budd that much. I think she's boring, so I hope she wins. But this, why does Bellator have to go all the way to sign a new fighter from outside the promotion to fight their former champ if they have this deep featherweight roster? I think that this is just evidence that they don't have a deep featherweight roster. I mean, they might have 15 or 20 featherweights signed, but I pointed out on at least one other occasion that how shallow that division actually is. Just because they have the fighters signed doesn't mean they actually have depth. Early pick on this one's going to be Bud, but I have to watch some video on Silva before I can really make a decision here. Moving along, another UFC fight announcement. Angela Hill and Ashley Yoder are booked for a rematch this Saturday on February, 27th for UFC Fight Night Rosenstreich versus Gane, however you say his name. Let's see, Overkill Hill coming in 12-9, Yoder coming in 8-6. Hill coming in off of 2 straight losses, both from contentious split decisions. Yoder coming in off a win over Miranda Granger 3 months ago, preceded by 2 straight losses via decision to Randa Marcos and Livia Souza. Hill's the elder fighter, 35 to Yoder's 33. Yoder's the taller fighter, 5'7" to 5'3" for Hill, and Yoder has a nice reach advantage as well, 69.5 inches. To Hill's 64.5. Sorry, I lost my place there for a second. So, like I said, this is a rematch. This is their second time fighting. They last fought at the Ultimate Fighter 25 finale back on July of 2017. So they fought a while ago. Hill picked up the unanimous decision. Probably be a repeat. I mean, you can say Hill has definitely grown as a fighter since 2017, whereas Yoder is kind of the same fighter. For the most part, yeah, she's very scrambly on the ground. Striking's okay, but not great. Hill, very busy for footwork, everything. Yeah, I just see this as being a repeat for Hill. I think she's the better fighter on the feet, and I think it'll mostly stay on the feet. If it goes to the ground, I think, Yoder will make it more exciting enough with the scrambles and everything, but she tends to be very sloppy and very weak positionally. Who do I have the main on for Saturday UFC? I don't know. I don't really know either of these two guys that much. Probably Gane. I think he has. Oh, Rosenstrike did win a fight over. Oh, JDS. That's nothing. Oh, both of them are coming off of wins over JDS. I would say Rosenstrike has the better wins overall. Yeah, I don't know. Not really that interested in it. I'm not a heavyweight fan, honestly. This is the next last thing I want to talk about. So per fightbananas.com, and then this was actually confirmed from Eric Kowal over at Koval at what's his name? MyMMAnews.com. He did confirm that Invicta Fighting Championship and UFC Fight Pass are going to be parting ways. Honestly, this is the end of an era. Invicta FC, they started with Fight Pass on either Invicta 7 or 8, and have been with Fight Pass ever since, and now they're in their early 40s event-wise. I'm really disappointed in this, just because, Fight Pass is getting really good, adding more events all the time, and they're losing the promotion that was the reason I joined I signed up for Fight Pass. I didn't have Fight Pass before Invicta joined. They were one of the early signups for Fight Pass, one of the early promotions that joined, and really were my incentive to sign up for it. And with Invicta gone, that's a big incentive for my keeping it. Now you still got LFA, CFFC, Titan, a whole bunch of other stuff. Fight Pass has really grown overall. So I'm probably not going to quit, but it is really disappointing seeing Invicta leave. Now, I don't know any of the reasons behind the split. None of that has been given. I would not be surprised to most likely Fight Pass is going to hold on to the Invicta library. That's usually in their contracts that, when you sign with them, they get access to your library in perpetuity. So you're probably still going to be able to watch all the replays for Invicta on Fight Pass, but going forward, probably not. I believe Invicta is now going to be streaming whenever they announce their next event. It's most likely going to stream on their YouTube page. So that'll be nice because, you can watch YouTube just about anywhere. And honestly, it's a lot easier to watch it from anywhere than Fight Pass is. I know if you watch Fight Pass on Roku, it's always a good 30 seconds to a minute behind. No matter how many times you close it and try to reopen it and play things live, it's always 30 seconds to a minute behind. So I quit watching it on Roku. Of course, now I have a smart TV, or I just watch it on, the PC or my put it on my phone and then Chromecast it to the smart TV. So Invicta will be moving to YouTube for the foreseeable future. But like I said, this is the end of an era here. Never thought I would see Invicta leave Fight Pass. Either their viewership numbers weren't doing so good, and UFC was just can't afford to keep paying you what we were paying you, or maybe Invicta wanted more money because of their viewership numbers were doing so good. Like, I remember there was a point when Shannon Epp was saying, like, we get more views than any other promotion on Fight Pass. That was a few years ago, and they've added more promotions since then. But I do remember Shannon Epp saying that they were like either the highest viewed or one of the highest viewed, you know, non-UFC events on Fight Pass. But like I said, still going most likely will be able to watch the fights they have there. Yeah, that was crazy. Final topic I want to talk about. The Beast Championship goes down this Saturday, early morning if you're in the U.S. In South Korea, it's a brand new promotion, and they have 2 ladies bouts scheduled. Now, the strawweight bout between Eunbi Cho and Kyorin Kim has been changed. Kyorin Kim got hurt, and they did find a replacement in Ye-Jin Cho. So now it's Ye-Jin Cho versus Eunbi Cho in a catchweight bout. I'm not sure what the weight is going to be. And everything I could find, couldn't find anything on Ye-Jin Cho, so it looks like it's going to be her debut. Eunbi Cho is like 0-3, 0-4, so obviously not expecting a high-level fight here, but I think it'll be more even than how it was originally. So I'm going to try to catch it. I think it's going to be on YouTube. Look for it, the Beast Championship. I think it'll be on YouTube. So anyway, it's always nice to see new MMA promotions come up, spring up, especially in like smaller regions like Korea. And it's great when new promotions, you know, put women's fights on for their first events. So that really is it for this edition of Odds and Ends. Like I said, you know, just a few topics I wanted to go over, talk about that I didn't have time to do individual videos for. So we'll be talking about, we'll be holding a WMMA scene report on Thursday night live, 9:30-ish. I do have a nice topic I want to talk about. I'm going to be talking about mismatches and how they hurt the women's divisions overall. Has the Habib Fighting Organization been aired yet? I don't know. I'm just not interested in it. Do you have any questions about women's MMA? Because that's what all these topics are. But thank you for asking questions, though, Wayne. But thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Anyway, like I said, that's really all I have. If you're watching the replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video, please give it a like. While you're at it, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys, and hey, we'll see you next time.